Glory to Ukraine! I'm Oleg Christopher, and this is a story for adults. In October 2024, parliamentary elections were held in Georgia. The ruling pro-Russian party claimed victory in these elections. This gave Ukrainians a strong sense of déjà vu, as it had all the familiar elements: administrative resources, fraud, ballot stuffing, and hired thugs. Voters were also intimidated with images of Ukrainian cities destroyed by Russian forces. The message was, befriend Russia or face war. The opposition and even the country's president were shocked.
This is unprecedented. We've become witnesses and victims of Russia's special op, a new form of hybrid warfare against our people and nation.
As James Bond said, never say never. It's all happened before, about us. We won't go into that. It's another story. But in Georgia, it occurred more than once or twice, always following the same script. The Kremlin used one strategy: create a no-win situation, push for talks and deals, and then, well, let's get into that now. Subscribe to History for Adults, and we'll show you what Georgians really think about Putin.
You stinking occupier, go to hell, blood.
Sadly, not everyone thinks this way, though they should. Georgians have a unique historical experience. For instance, do you know what the most popular Georgian greeting means? No, this isn't a simple hello, it's more serious. A warrior's greeting from a nation that's always fought to survive.
Gamarjoba means victory to you in Georgian. This greeting reflects our history of constant wars and the importance of survival as a nation.
That's right, Georgia's a small country between Europe and Asia. It has about 3 million people like Kiev on a workday, yet it's one of the world's most fascinating civilizations. The first humans appeared here nearly 2 million years ago, the earliest in Europe. In the 6th millennium BC, farming and winemaking began here, and by the 4th, metallurgy developed. In the 2nd millennium, a wealthy state called Diauca emerged, often under attack from neighbors. Urartians, Assyrians, Hittites, Medes, Cimmerians, and Persians. Ancient Greeks wrote about 2 states in modern Georgia: Colchis and Iberia. Jason and his Argonauts sailed to Colchis for the Golden Fleece. This region was heavily influenced by Greek culture. Cities mainly spoke Greek and later joined the Pontic kingdom. In Caucasian Iberia, the kingdom of Kartli emerged, the first true Georgian state. The Kartli region birthed the Georgian nation, giving them the name Kartveli or Kartlians, and the country's modern name Sakartvelo, meaning land of the Kartvelians. The more common name, Georgia, was given by foreign invaders. Persians called this defiant land Gurgan, meaning country of wolves. Over time, this word evolved into Georgia in other languages.
Eradicate Russian narratives, Sakartvelo, not Georgia. Tbilisi's decade-long push to change Georgia internationally.
Neither Persians nor Macedonians could fully conquer the land of wolves, but Rome did in the 7th century BC. Afterward, the state split into smaller principalities, dependent on various neighbors: Romans, Byzantines, Armenians, Persians, and Arabs. In the 1st century AD, Georgians embraced Christianity, legendarily from Apostle Andrew himself, making their Orthodox Church apostolic. In that century, Kartli King Mirian made it the state religion. In the 11th century, the Kartveli finally united and drove out all enemies. The Bagrationi dynasty occupied the Kartli throne for the next 800 years. The country repelled Arabs, withstood Turks, and grew stronger and larger. Thus, the next 2 centuries became Sakartvel's golden age. From King David IV to Queen Tamara, Georgia reached its historic peak, with neighbors paying tribute or seeking protection. This peak period of state and cultural growth was crucial for Kartvelian identity. The Mongols destroyed everything, devastating the land and leaving it vulnerable to attacks from Turkmens, Tamerlane, Turks, Persians, and Dagestanis. Kartli fractured once more. Eventually, after centuries of regional dominance, the Kartvelians found themselves caught between two fires again. They became a battleground and prize for the Ottoman and Persian empires. Georgian principalities fought each other while trying to maintain autonomy under foreign rule. They managed to preserve some independence. When Muscovy arrived in the 18th century, it became clear that all previous Kartvelian hardships were just a prelude. What followed was a grim reality of betrayal and subjugation.
Check out this beast.
In constant war, Georgians revived their state and culture, started printing, and united two main parts of the former state, Kartli and Kakheti. When Peter thus launched his Persian campaign and asked Tbilisi ruler Vakhtang VI for help, he was readily supported. But Georgians first learned the true value of Moscow's word with this failed campaign. We've covered the poor organization before. So Peter, to save his army and gain the Persian Shah's favor, betrayed Georgia and refused to help his ally. When Turks invaded Georgia, he recognized their claim to this Orthodox nation.
Don't abandon our motto. It's deep in every Russian's heart.
Then Catherine II promised aid to King Heraclius II of Kartli, but deceived him, forcing him to declare war on Turkey. She sent a small force under General Totleben, who instead of helping, conspired with opposition princes. Catherine sacrificed Georgia for a favorable treaty with the Sultan. Despite this, Heraclius kept falling for the same trick. He continued to trust his Kremlin brothers, signing the Georgian Treaty in 1783. The Kartvelian ruler accepted Moscow's protection from Muslims, but the Muscovites didn't help against Dagestan Avars and withdrew when Turks invaded again. When Iranians attacked weakened Kartli, Muscovites didn't lift a finger. The next Georgian king, George VIII, stubbornly asked Emperor Paul, Catherine's son, for protection. Paul agreed to take Georgia under his wing, promising to preserve local rights and freedoms of local kings and their subjects. And what do you think happened? The sickly George died soon after. In 1801, Pavel abolished Sakartvelo's autonomy, turning the kingdom into a Georgian province. He ordered all Bagrationi dynasty members arrested and taken to Moscow. He banned Georgian printing, violated Orthodox canons, and subordinated the local apostolic church to Moscow. He appointed Muscovites as Catholicos patriarchs who were hostile to all things Georgian. Queen Mariam saved the dynasty's honor by killing General Ivan Lebedev during her arrest, but it changed nothing. Georgian Tsars' children became princes serving their oppressors, and they died for Tsar and country like General Peter Bagration at the Battle of Borodino, but the 1917 revolution came. Bolsheviks courted national movements, recognizing Georgia's independence. The Georgian Democratic Republic conspired with Kemal Pasha, attacked from both sides and occupied it under the guise of saving it from Turks. They used national minority groups, Abkhazians and Ossetians, to overcome the Kartvelian resistance. To weaken regional elites, they annexed Abkhazia and Ossetia to Georgia. Oddly, only the south. When Kartvelians demanded independence again in 1989, against them, they used this pre-planted separatist mine. In response to Abkhazia's independence declaration, Protests in Tbilisi were brutally dispersed, with at least 20 dead and 250 wounded. Georgia gained freedom but faced a hybrid war in Abkhazia in 1992 to 93. Russian troops, Navy and Air Force participated in the battles. A Ukrainian volunteer fought on the Kartvelian side.
If we don't fight now, our children will. If we don't stop Moscow's aggression here, our descendants will have to.
When thousands of Georgian refugees were trapped in Svaneti's mountains, Ukraine's armed forces conducted their first special military operation there. Not an aggressive one like Putin's, but a rescue mission.
Ukraine was the only country that, during this challenging time for Georgia, decided to assist in evacuating civilians.
In October to 93, 17 Ukrainian helicopters, despite Russian fire, flew 291 missions, saving 7,643 from ethnic cleansing. Pilots got cash bonuses, not medals. The op was kept secret to avoid angering Moscow. In 2008, the Kremlin pulled this trick again, invading as Ossetian separatists and Moscow peacekeepers. They occupied 20% of Georgia, advancing on Tbilisi. But leaders from Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Ukraine came to support Georgia.
Your sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity are our values too. We'll never stand alone.
Putin backed down then, but wasn't punished, so he repeated the hybrid invasion, this time in Ukraine. In 2014, the Georgian Legion became the first foreign unit in Ukraine's armed forces.
Ukraine's fighting here isn't just for its land, it's for all of us. That's the sacrifice they've made.
The war for the freedom of Sakartvelo and Ukraine is far from over. In fact, it's reaching its climax, and the resolution is unfolding before our eyes. If you learned something new from our video or have your own thoughts, please leave a comment and like this video. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes.